Welcome back to the Morales channel, everyone. My name is Filip, and in this video we're gonna look at Binance Smart Chain versus Ethereum. Is this the final Ethereum killer that's gonna surpass Ethereum? Will BNB flip Ethereum? And what is actually the difference between Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum? We're gonna look at all of that. We're gonna look at the history, we're gonna look at the infrastructure changes, what is actually the difference between Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum, and we're gonna look at which one you should choose as a developer, and we're also gonna have a look at the price, the difference between BNB and ETH, which one is the best option if you're an investor. I'm very excited for this video because it really is an age-old debate in Ethereum and in blockchain protocols generally, because this fight between Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum is all about scaling. It's a fight that has been going on for a long time between Ethereum and so-called Ethereum killers. We have had many. We've had EOS, we've had Cardano, we've had, well, it hasn't really been tested yet as a competitor, but it's definitely there. Now we have Polkadot, we have Binance Smart Chain. We have so many of these competitors to Ethereum that are trying to solve the scalability issue. And even before Ethereum, there's been a debate in Bitcoin, right? Trying to solve the Bitcoin scaling issue. So with blockchains, we have this debate that goes on all the time about how can we fit more transactions into this blockchain? Because with Bitcoin, we obviously have Bitcoin Cash. We have so many Bitcoin forks. We have Satoshi Vision that are the two big ones today. We've had so many in the past, Bitcoin Gold and all of these other old forks that make some tweaks to the Bitcoin protocol and then redeploy a new chain that is faster and better and whatever. But today we're going to focus on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. Why did this fight start, first of all, between Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum? Well, since the whole DeFi boom that really started last year in Ethereum, during the summer of 2020, we saw gas fees skyrocketing, right? And that's because all of a sudden, you could use all of these new protocols on Ethereum, all of these new apps for staking, for lending, for trading, and for betting, all of these different things. We had bonds, we have NFTs, came a little bit later, but the activity started to ramp up, and especially people with lots of capital in crypto, lots of tokens, lots of ether, started using these protocols a lot. And they used protocols like Uniswap, and Uniswap in and of itself takes up a lot of gas. It's a heavy protocol, it's a heavy application to run as a smart contract. And you know this when you're trading on Uniswap, that you pay very high gas fees. And gas fees for doing a trade on Uniswap started to become very, very high. We're talking hundreds of dollars for a single trade. They're not that bad right now, but they were definitely up there if you're doing some more complex trades. And this is okay if you're trading millions of dollars, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Then it might even be cheap. But if you're gonna swap tokens for, $50, then it's impossible. Even if you pay, $10-20 in gas fees, it's impossible. So people got really sick and tired of that during the mid to end of last year, and people started looking for solutions because people still needed to trade. People still wanted to run all of these nice applications, and you want to do it even if you're not a millionaire. And that's sort of why Binance Smart Chain popped up, right? Because they saw that there was an issue with Ethereum. People wanted to use these applications but with lower gas fees. So what did they do? Well, they cloned Ethereum. It's a clone of Ethereum. And they adjusted some parameters. They allowed for bigger blocks, faster block time, and that's about it. Then they built their own wallet. They released their own software, which is a clone of Ethereum, but with other parameters. And then Binance started running that protocol, and they marketed to the masses, and off we go. And since then, Binance Smart Chain usage has really skyrocketed. We can have a look at this chart here, blockchain transactions per day. You don't need much explanation. It's number of transactions that are happening each and every day. And they compare it, Binance, Ethereum, and Polkadot. We're not going to talk Polkadot here, but we're going to have a look at the extreme growth in Binance Smart Chain usage. And this started here in, January 2021, basically start of 2021, where it really took off. Previously, it had a good growth all the way from end of 2020. But in the beginning of 2021, it really took off. And it flipped Ethereum number of transactions somewhere in February of 2021 this year. And since then, it has continued to grow steadily. And why is this? Why has it grown like this? And how is it able to grow like this? Well, what they've done is they've adjusted some parameters, as I said, in the protocol, in the Ethereum code. And what they have adjusted specifically is the block size that they allow. So they allow for much larger blocks, and they also allow for a much lower block time, meaning they produce blocks a lot faster. If you have a look at the block time, first of all, Binance Smart Chain has about a 3-second block time, meaning new blocks are produced every 3 seconds, while Ethereum is at around 13 seconds. So that's a difference with a factor 4. And then we have the block size, where Binance also has about 3-4 times the size of each and every block. It's 3 to 4 times bigger each block. So in the end, you end up somewhere from 9 to 16 times the number of transactions or data that you can fit in a single block in Binance Smart Chain. So that is why they have been able to scale like this. And Ethereum, meanwhile, hasn't changed at all in terms of number of transactions. If you go a year back, it's pretty much flatlined. And that's because the blocks are full and the block time is at 13 seconds. So they can't fit more transactions into the blocks and they can't run it faster. And that's not because Binance Smart Chain has, created some incredible new blockchain innovation. It's a trade-off between decentralization and speed and throughput. So Binance Smart Chain has decreased decentralization and increased throughput. So why is this a trade-off? Why can't you have both in a blockchain like this? Well, it's because when you increase the data throughput, more blocks and more data in each block, and you have a lot of miners throughout the world, right? It's decentralized. You increase the chance of having orphaned blocks or having stale blocks or accidental forks, because there are so many blocks being produced all the time from thousands of different miners all around the globe, and they're all going to try to send these blocks to each other back and forth every 3 seconds, that it gets very confusing, basically. They don't really know which block they should produce and which transactions to include, because someone else on the other side of the earth might have done that same block, same transaction, just 2 seconds ago, and so they can't do it. And information can't really travel that fast. So that's why you have to have a more centralized chain. You can only have a few miners doing that, and you have to be quite well coordinated. And that's why Ethereum is working on other solutions. They're not just tweaking the parameters. They want to achieve scaling while trying to remain decentralized. So they are working on their solution. Binance Smart Chain have provided another solution. And I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible here. I hold tokens in both Binance and Ethereum, so I really want to see both succeed. But it's interesting approaches, and I like that Binance is taking sort of this business approach to blockchain sometimes. They're a big business here in crypto, and they want to cater to the users. And there are a lot of users that are in need of a blockchain that supports lower value transactions. Because currently Ethereum is for people with large banks that can trade large amounts, because it is so expensive, or at least it has been. It's a little bit cheaper now. But if you're trading small amounts, then Binance Smart Chain is a good alternative. And Binance has really rolled out this well. You have good tools, and it's easy to use your old Ethereum smart contract on Binance Smart Chain because it's the same chain and the tools are very similar. And that brings us back to the question, what should you use as a developer? And then we're going to continue to talk about, is Binance going to continue this development? Are they going to pass Ethereum in other aspects, in market cap, for example? And is Ethereum transactions going to decline as more and more transactions enter to Binance? But let's take that later. Let's talk about which chain you should choose as a developer. And the answer is that you don't really have to choose. And that's because the smart contract can be exactly the same, because it is the same blockchain code, right? It is the same blockchain, just a clone of it. So it's the same protocol, just a few changes, tweaks. So you can use the same smart contract, You can deploy it to Ethereum, you can deploy it to Binance Smart Chain, and you can run both. Then it's a question, how do you build your front end so that your users can choose which one they want to use? Because they're not going to stay in sync because they're on two different chains. So your users need to choose which one they want to use, and your smart contracts need to be able to operate, in two separate environments. And on the front end, this can be done very easily with Moralis. You can have some users that use the Binance Smart Chain wallet in their browser. You can have some users that use MetaMask with Ethereum in their browser. And you can authenticate using both in Moralis, and you can get data from both Binance Smart Chain and Ethereum. You can combine user profiles even and merge them if some users want to use both. And now you have a pure cross-chain dApp. You really don't have to choose. That would be my message. But if you're passionate about Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain, you can choose one or the other. But if you want to achieve maximum, user growth in your application, then maybe go with both. Now, back to the question of, is Ethereum going to survive this? Or are they going to start dropping more and more users to Binance Smart Chain as the network effect grows? And to help us talk about that, I'm going to introduce another image here. And this is about daily average transaction fees. This is how much people on average pay per day for a transaction on Binance versus Ethereum, okay? And here we can see a completely different look, all right? Binance Smart Chain is very low compared to Ethereum, and it's actually declining. And what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that the low value transactions happen on Binance Smart Chain, high value transactions happens on Ethereum. And that's to be expected, right? Because we've talked about that, how it's the normal people with normal size transactions, they're trading $50, $100, that have been outbid on Ethereum. So they're moving to Binance Smart Chain. So that's why there are lower value transactions there. But it still means that Ethereum has quite a good advantage when it comes to, the big accounts, the big applications, the big use cases are still on Ethereum, and people are willing to pay on Ethereum for the added security and for the added decentralization. Because why wouldn't the big whales move to Binance Smart Chain if it's cheaper there too? Because they appreciate the higher security decentralization of Ethereum. That's what I think. But something that's maybe even more important than this when it comes to Ethereum staying as the #1 smart contract platform is the fact that they have so much innovation. They have so many developers there. And currently, at least, the applications are first developed on Ethereum, then people clone them to Binance Smart Chain. That's how it has been going up until this point, at least. So there's not much innovation on other chains, at least what I'm seeing in terms of DeFi, at least. And if you don't agree with me, please let me know in the comment section below and leave a comment. But that's my perspective. So I think Ethereum will be here to stick around, and they're working on their scaling solution. So I'm very excited to see that. But as I said before, there is no reason of choosing one over the other. You can use both as a developer, and I'm sure they will both stick around for quite some time, because I appreciate what Binance is doing when it comes to pushing this industry forward. They're really pumping in a lot of money into this with Binance Smart Chain, pushing developers to build there, especially with grants and so on. So they're pushing innovation forward in that way. And they're also letting the Ethereum community know that they have to speed up. They can't be slacking with their Ethereum 2.0 stuff. They have to get it out because competition is here. And we need to get this done. We need to have scaling. So it's very important to have competition. And that's really what they have provided in the end. And I'm happy using both. And I think most people should get experience using both. And I'm going to wrap up by looking at the price. So if you're an investor and you're looking at BNB, which is Binance, which is running Binance Smart Chain, and Ethereum, which asset is the best one for you? And I can premise it, first of all, I will only be sharing my personal opinion here and how I think. It will not be any personal investment advice, for you or to make any investment decisions. So I just want to make that clear. But if we have a look at, first of all, the price history of BNB and ETH, it's very clear that BNB over time has performed incredibly well. So here is BNB priced in ETH. You can't see it here, but let's see. Here you go. So it's very clear that it's performed incredibly well. And if we bought it at the start, which very few did, I assume. But then you would be up like 30,000%. Not bad. But, you know, most people weren't there at that time. And if you bought it around 2019, you would be about break even in terms of ETH. Obviously, in USD terms, you're up, but all of us are up in USD terms, even if you just hodl Bitcoin or Ethereum. So the interesting thing to look at is Binance priced in ETH, okay? And we can see the reaction from this whole Binance Smart Chain launch, because this is really where it's started to take off, right? January of 2021. And this whole narrative of Binance Smart Chain flipping ETH in Ethereum in terms of transactions on chain. And as we've discussed, that's not the entire story, but it is a narrative that is out there in the media, and that really started to push the price of Binance higher and put pressure on Ethereum. Now it's recovered a little bit, so we've come down to some important support area here, actually, if you think of it. Because we both have these two tops here, and then we have this big support area here where the price was consolidating for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised if we can get some sort of turnaround here in terms of a Binance coin. So it might be nice looking to get long here for me, because the trend is up as well if you look at the 200-day moving average. But once again, I'm not any financial advisor, so you shouldn't take any of this as advice, because it's not. But yeah, it looks like a trend is solid for BNB, but what I also can say is that it's incredibly volatile. So these ups and downs are incredibly quick. So if you like that, then you might consider investing in BNB, but if you don't like this high volatility, then maybe look elsewhere. But just like I said that for developers, it's best to hold both, I view this as two very different coins. And I don't view them as competitors, not in terms of their platforms for developers, and also not for investments, because Binance is a company. They do a lot of things. They run an exchange, they now run this blockchain, and they invest in projects, right? It's a huge ecosystem. And they are focused on one thing, which is making tons of money, which is great. Ethereum is a community-driven project that have other goals, right? They have other type of goals in terms of replacing the financial ecosystem, building products that are decentralized and so on, finding new use cases. And they're very different in their approach to that, even though the products in some way can be the same. So just like I tend to use both as a developer, I also hold both BNB and Ethereum in my own portfolio. So that could be something that you can think about as well. Do you really have to put these two projects against each other? Or are there both solutions that can be used moving forward and providing decentralized finance to the masses? With that said, let's wrap up this video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you have any thoughts, comments, if you don't agree with me, or if you agree with me, you can leave a comment down below. We'll be happy to chat with you there. Also, if you're building dApps, Moralis.io, it's the one-stop shop solution for dApp builders. You get nodes, you get user authentication, you get events, you get token balances, NFTs, you get, we have so many features, I forget it. You get IPFS support, you get messaging. There is so much. You can use Binance Smart Chain, you can use it cross-chain with Ethereum. And it's free, so go check it out, Moralis.io. Also, if you have an idea, you're building a dApp or any other type of project on Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain, apply to our hackathon. You can win $30,000 as first prize, then we have second prize, third prize, and so on. So check that out, moralis.io/hackathon. Subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for future videos. I'll see you there. Thank you for watching.